morning to you all. I hope that you are all having a really good start to your week. It is Monday, like I said, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so we are currently off. However, I did come into my classroom because I needed to get some work done today. So this morning I came in and I spoke on the phone quite a bit with one of my really good friends in Alabama who is a reading coach. I absolutely adore her, and she is actually the person that I am writing my book with. So the past month we have been really bad off of that bandwagon, and we are about to jump right back into that bandwagon. So I'm so excited to continue working on that stinking book. If you guys haven't heard me talk about it before, but we're working on a book of organization. So things that are going to really help teachers, either new teachers or old teachers who have been teaching for 2 or 3 years, really kind of get a grasp of how to organize just everything from the layout of your classroom to the materials that you're using in the classroom to student materials to your lesson plans to your time management. So we're trying to make this very easy and practical to use for all of you, and we're really excited to be hopefully getting it out and sharing it with all of you. So more news on that hopefully to come. But after I spoke with her for flippin' ever, I felt like, I jumped onto a patron call. So I was speaking with one of my patrons who is a supporter of the channel, and so we kind of went through, hashed out some of the things that she's doing in her classroom, hopefully gave her some really great ideas of some things that she can do in the future. And then we have a little project that we're working on together, so that's really exciting. Excited to be doing something with her. So I've done that. I've had a really productive day, y'all, no lie. And then I also met with my 6th grade vertical team person about curriculum, kind of mapping out what we're doing for informational, for poetry, and etc, etc, etc. So excited to be getting some stuff done. I feel like I'm really excited, and I'm out of breath, and I'm already exhausted. Whew. So I'm just finally getting to the point where I am picking up the camera, and I have gone and made a couple of copies, cleaned up my room a little bit because it was just a tad bit messy. So we have learner targets ready for this week. We don't have school on Monday, so we X'd that out. We have meet the teacher reading for 40 minutes. They're gonna be logging their map stuff inside of their goal sheets, which is going to be something new for them, a little bit different, but still something that they've kind of been working on. It's just they're logging their information differently. Independent writing, and then word study. So, and then we have the math stuff on the very back. Target the question, she has tech on there, and then her goal, and then some science at the very bottom. So these are ready to go from Tuesday, which is very exciting. Okay, so I wanted to sit down and really talk to you guys about something that I am going to start for this week. So this week, what I wanted to do is kind of go back to almost those daily vlogs. I'm not gonna say that I'm daily vlogging just because I never know if I actually will daily vlog. So for instance, I know that on Thursday I'm not gonna be in school all day long, so there's most likely a chance that I won't do a vlog that day because I'm gonna be in a conference pretty much the entire day. So there's not much that I can do there. But those other days that I am in the classroom and I am getting some things done, I want to be a little bit more specific with some of the vlogs that I'm throwing out at you guys. So I'm gonna take a hold on my main-ish videos, I guess main channel videos that I like to call it, where I'm kind of sitting down with the big nice camera and the big lights and sitting talking to you guys with adding some of those little clips here and there. And I'm gonna do more focused vlogs, if this hopefully makes sense. So this week, what I wanted to focus on is student choice. I'm a big proponent of student choice. I think that it is absolutely very beneficial for your students. It's very beneficial for that positive vibes that you want in your classroom. It's important for your students to have some of that independence. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Ron Clark talking about the wussification of America, but he talks about we need to start letting our kids be more independent. We need to stop babying them. We need to get them aware of things that they need to learn how to make choices and how to deal with some of those consequences, and not always saying, yay, we all did a great job. We now need to look at the individual child and be able to say, are you doing exactly what you need to be doing? And if you're not, then here are some of the consequences that you need to have in order to say, to get you back on the right track, hopefully. So student choice is part of that, and that's a really great way to start showing some of that independent and getting students to make some of those right choices, and understanding when they're not making right choices that there will be consequences to those, and that you have to kind of own up to the choices that you made and take responsibility for some of those actions by having consequences. So I love student choice. I feel like it is a great overall like lesson learned type deal, and it's something that I incorporate a lot into my classroom, or at least I try to incorporate a lot of it in my classroom. And today what we're going to focus on is kind of the way that I incorporate flexible seating. Now I want to put a little disclaimer out there, because I will say that student like flexible seating has almost had like this other, like when you think of flexible seating, it always has this other view. Like people are thinking, oh, there are like twinkle lights out, and you know, people are on yoga mats and they're on yoga balls and all the kids are sitting on the floor. That is definitely not what's like flexible seating is. Flexible seating is basically where you are allowing your students to make the choices as to where they're going to sit, and giving them the flexibility to change those places as they see fit to what it is that they are doing. So that is what student flexible seating is. It does not mean that you are giving them 100 million options. It does not mean that you have to get rid of your tables, or you have to get rid of your desks, and you have to go out and spend this huge amount of money on new stuff for your classroom. That's not what this means. This means that you're allowing students to be able to come in, make the choices of where they are going to sit, for how long they want to sit, and giving them that flexibility to move around your room. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the flexible choices that I've made in my classroom. Now, if you've been watching my vlogs for a little bit, then you know that at one point I took away flexible seating, and you are most absolutely, yes, you can take away that flexible seating choices, because you are still the teacher. When those kids are not making the choices that they are supposed to be making, and they're not making those good choices, you have the right to go through, take those choices away, and talk to them about why they are getting those choices taken away, and then hopefully get them to understand that and figure out how they're gonna fix it. So I have definitely done that, but we did go back to having that flexible seating. So now my students are coming back in again, where they're choosing where they want to sit, and they're moving around the room. We take it a little bit further here with my school, and well, my classroom and my partner teacher, and they kind of go in between classes as well, which is something that I'm going to talk about in another vlog. So let's talk about flexible seating and some of the different choices and things that my kids have in my classroom. So I'm gonna move you guys around. I'm gonna try not to move around too much. I probably know that I've been moving around crazy already. Okay, so here's kind of the pan view of my class. Okay, so we have tables, we have desks in the back, we have another table, there's a round one, there's some little benches here, we got some other chairs. So there's lots of different choices here. And here's some easy things that you can do. You definitely don't have to go as far as I have and purchase new tables like I did. But you can still keep your very own tables and almost change it up with adding a couple of yoga balls. Now, I will tell you that I did have more yoga balls, and yes, some of them did get popped. And you can find some really cheap versions of these. I think the one that I have back here we found at Five Below, which was not a bad deal, and it has survived just fine. But here's some recommendations when you are doing yoga balls. Make sure you are very explicit with how you are teaching that they are sitting on these yoga balls. And I will tell you that I make kids get off of the yoga balls plenty of times. And then I also used a, what is this thing called? Pool noodle. And wrapped it around, just duct taped it, and this is what they use to actually put it on when they are not in use, so that they're not rolling all over my room, because that does drive me absolutely nuts. So yoga balls is a really easy way to incorporate some of that like variation of how they sit. If you want to get rid of a couple of those, that is perfectly fine. Here's some other choices that you can do. Think about the layout of your room. If you have desks, this is awesome because you can actually create groups of desks. Now, the desks that I use back here are meant for my small groups. So none of the kids actually sit back here unless I'm completely done with all of my small groups for the day. Now, you could group them. So let's say that you have them grouped. You can group them into 4s, you can group them into 6s, you can have them by themselves. So that's kind of what I did here. I have these grouped for my small groups, so when I have a bigger overflow of kids, I can use that back row as well. But then I also have a desk here that's kind of by themselves. And I have students who like to sit by themselves. They'd like to make those choices and say, I don't really want to sit with other people, I just want to kind of be by myself. And that is perfectly okay. But give them that option to where they know that they can sit by themselves. They know that they can only have a partner. So maybe have 2 desks together here, 2 desks together here, a group of 4 over here, but give them a variation of what to choose from. Instead of always saying, well, you have to sit with a partner. Well, think about it. Do you have to always sit with a partner? Probably not. There are some activities that are going to be independent that is perfectly okay for them to be sitting independently. Now, during those times where they have to work on partners, then they know that they have to move their bodies and pick a different place in order to be able to work with partners or work in groups. I think that is exactly what flexible seating is as well, is being able to understand and know when it is that you need to be working in different ways. Sometimes it's okay for us to be sitting independently. Sometimes we need to be working with just a partner. So you want to be kind of isolated from everybody else, but you still want to have that flexibility of being able to sit next to somebody else to discuss things. Maybe sometimes you're sitting in a big group where having a table like this is completely okay, because then you're in that big group setting, you're able to spread out some of your work, and you guys can really get into that discussion. I know for me, there are times where I am sitting down and I want to like just be cozy and kind of do my reading, or I'm working on writing or lesson planning. I have different ways that I do things during or sit during different times. So like typically if I'm reading or if I'm working on editing or something to that extent, I'm usually like in a comfy chair with a blanket, like cozied up. It's a very comfortable setting. Typically if I have a ton of stuff that I'm working on, if I'm like grading papers or if I'm lesson planning, I'm on the floor and I am straight up spread out doing my work, because that's how I work best in that environment, is being able to spread out and look at all the things that I have. If I am sitting down and I'm paying bills or something, then I'm sitting at a desk and I'm doing that. So we all have ways that or places where we like to do certain work, certain jobs. Same for our students. They're gonna have places where they enjoy doing certain work. So we need to make sure that we're giving them those different choices to choose from. So some of the other choices is like my yellow chair that I have. So I have this yellow chair and kids can come and sit in this yellow chair. And typically it's for my kids who are just independent reading and they're wanting to get comfy and cozy. This is like a perfect spot for them. I also have 2 stools that I actually got for free, and I actually found them at the, when I lived in my apartment in Alabama, I found them like at the, what is it called, the garbage place, right? Somebody had put them off to kind of give them away, and I picked them up. I mean, there's no shame in that, right? There's no shame in that. So I have these 2 things, just easy stools. What I love about them is, I mean, the colors are a little crazy, but I have clipboards underneath. But I have these kind of set out for kids who are working with partners. They can easily sit there and they can read to each other. Or if they're sitting there looking at their iPad and they're kind of working on a document together on their iPad, then they can choose to sit in one of those. I have another independent chair over here where students can learn. And then that desk over there, that desk is actually pretty popular with 2 of my students. Those 2 students just like to be away from the group. They know they just make better choices when they're by themselves. They know that they can sit over there and kind of get into their own little world and get their work done and do what they're supposed to be doing, and they're not going to get in trouble. So having an option like this too for those kids who just need to be by themselves is perfectly okay, but you need to make sure that you're giving them that choice in the classroom. I also have some cushions. So you see back here I got cushions, and my husband actually found these because he went to a garage sale with my mother-in-law, and they had a bunch of these cushions and they had them on sale, or I mean, it was a garage sale, so they had them fairly cheap. But I have a ton of these. I have a location here in the room, back there in the room, and then I have another one hold on here, I'm coming. They have another one back here where they have other cushions. These cushions are super popular. Kids love these cushions because they can get them, move around the room, they make a cozy spot, they can start to read, they can lay down and they can complete their writing if that's how they want to do it. But they know that they have that option to be able to just pull them out. Other options is giving them some pillows. Why not give them pillows so they can kind of have that cozy spot to just sit down and read? And that's perfectly fine as well. When you look at my room, taking away from the fact that I have tables other than just like dining tables, other than like school tables, I could very easily have 3 like school tables or have them in groups as desks, and it would still work for the same reasons as how my classroom is working right now. So you don't have to go out and buy dining room tables. You can just use the school tables. You can group them as desks into groups of 6 and 4, 2s and 1s, so that you're allowing that flexibility. I've also seen other teachers, and I don't have any in my room or my partner's room that I'm about to show you, but I have other teachers who have taken the legs off of their desks and they've had them kind of low to the ground, and they've given them like little mats for them to sit on, and that's just kind of a sitting working space, which works really well as well. So they've taken these legs completely off right here, so this part is where it hits the floor, and the kids just have a little round mat that they sit on to be able to work on their desk. So they're sitting on their bottoms instead of sitting on a chair. So I wanted to show you as well some of the options that my partner teacher has, because her room is a little bit different than mine. She has it set up differently, but her room works just as well. She gives students options. They have certain places to sit, but then she also takes into account what is it that she's teaching. I have reading and writing, so I have some flexibility where students can lay around, and then I have others where they're sitting down on tables. For her, she has areas where students are a lot of the time working on activities. So she does have a ton of floor space, but it works for her in what it is that she is specifically teaching, because she needs that floor space so students are allowed to spread out to be able to actually play the games. I don't need that in my case. So there's some differences there, and also take that into account when you're doing your classroom as well. Let's go. Okay, so looking at her room, she has a table, she has 2 sofas over here, another sofa there, she has a little chair, she offers out smaller tables over here. She has a really great space. Something else that I love, and I think somebody actually built this for her, but this was fantastic. It's like a rolling, I don't even know, I call it like a coffee table almost, but then she offers out these little cushions for students to be able to take out and sit on, which is again another easy way for you to incorporate some of that flexible seating. Another option that I really like that she does, she has these mats that she's found, which are fantastic because it kind of gives you a defined space. So students really like to take out these mats, roll them out on the floor, and this is kind of their working space. So they know that this is where they are. It's defining their space, so they're really not kind of putting everything everywhere. They're more keeping it to this little area, which is kind of theirs almost. So this is another great way of doing it. If you have a ton of floor space and you want to kind of get rid of some of those tables, using some of these for students to be able to take out and place on the floor to be able to work on is another great option for you to be able to use and add some of that flexible seating. We will say too, and I have one in my room that's just a bin, but she keeps a clipboard bin that makes it really easy for students to access clipboard so that they can get to and use whenever they are working on the floor and they need some type of hard surface to write on. So definitely keep some type of bin out somewhere in your room so that they can easily access those. If you notice here, like she has another desk kind of off to the side by itself, because again, we have the same kids. There are like 2 or 3 kids who really like to work by themselves, looking away from everyone else, kind of in their own little world, and this works for them. So you're really thinking about what it is that your students need and what can you do to help improve their learning. This is something that can easily be done. Okay, so if you are one person that really is interested in doing a couch, but you're afraid about how expensive it's going to be, put a message out to parents. Parents are always getting rid of couches. I will tell you that these couches were ones that were inside of the library. The library was donated new couches, so they were getting rid of some of theirs. We even had some other teachers who were cleaning out parents' homes that were sending out emails saying, hey, we have these couches. Does anybody want them? It's going free to a good home. Definitely don't be afraid to send out that email. Ask parents, hey, if anybody's knows a relative or a friend that's getting rid of a couch, I would love to get one into the classroom to really make it a little bit more homey and inviting for students. Send it out. The worst they can do is say no, but I will tell you, like, the ones that she has are great. They're perfect. Kids really, really love them. And you are definitely going to have some of those non-negotiables, some of those restrictions. And these are things that you're going to have to build with your students in the very beginning, when you first introduce to them flexible seating. And I wouldn't introduce all of them in one big shot. I would definitely introduce little by little and start kind of weaning them out in the very beginning. Because if you introduce everything all at once, think about it. If you're introducing plot all at once, they're not going to get it. It's going to be way too difficult. You're going to introduce little by little. Same thing with like daily 5. You don't introduce all of the rotations for daily 5. It gets too crazy and it's not easy to manage. Same thing here. Introduce little by little, and that way you can make sure that you hit and say, this is not how it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. This is what it feels like when we have this one piece of flexible seating. And then build those anchor charts in the very beginning, or if you're wanting to start incorporate some of those now, this is a great time to do it because you've already set those expectations, those routines, so kids know, and you can start introducing little by little to them so that they already know what you want and what you expect, and you're giving them something new, and they're enjoying that excitement and that freedom a little bit. So try it out. Go see if you can bring in a couple of, other desks and lower them into your classroom, or bring in some cushions that you find at a garage sale that somebody's getting rid of, or if you know somebody who has a couch, they're getting rid of that. But just giving some students some options to be able to explore with how do they learn best, and what types of environments are they going to learn best, and giving them that ability to make those decisions themselves, because I feel like we can't make decisions for ourselves. We're teaching kids to count on us as parents, as adults, to make decisions for them, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should be teaching them how to make those decisions, and when those decisions fail, how do we approach them and how do we fix it. So that's what us as teachers should be doing. Introduce some of this stuff to them. Create an anchor chart of what does it look like, sound like, what does it feel like when we have it, and build upon that, and make sure that you are discussing it. And the moment that you see that they are not making that choice, you let them know, listen, I see that you are not making good choices, therefore I am allowed to make the choice for you. So I'm going to choose that you walk away from that and we let somebody else try it out. You are more than capable and able of making that decision, because you're still the authority figure in the classroom. You're there to help guide them to making better choices. We can't just sit back and let them make the bad ones. We have to help them learn how to make the good decisions. Yeah, I like flexible seating. It's actually worked out really well. I've had times where I've had to take it away, and that's totally fine. So yeah, now I need to go get something to drink because I am straight up dry. I hope you guys enjoyed this little lesson on flexible seating. Please stay tuned to tomorrow's video on something totally different. Okay, so I went and picked up some books, and then I took out some of the books of my own. Now some of them I'm not using. I actually got these from other teachers, so I don't want to use those right now. But here is the selection that I have so far. Holes is one of them. Frindle will be another. Not sure if I want to do Ringer or not. Not really sure yet. Haven't decided. Becoming Naomi Leone, I haven't decided on this one. Bridge to Terabithia are just kind of some of my little classics that I really always like to take out. I'm also thinking about, I know some of the kids have done like Tuck Everlasting, but not all of them have gotten the chance to read Tuck Everlasting. So maybe they didn't read it last time. Maybe they could read it this time. You know what I mean? So same thing with maybe Ella Enchanted. Maybe they didn't get to last time, but they really could do it this time. So I think that's what I have so far. I feel like that's a pretty good selection. I may end up doing a little bit more research to figure out exactly what it is that I want to do. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I do know that I need to go make more copies of this. So I need to go do their book tastings, because this is typically how we do our book clubs, is we'll have a book tasting for a couple of days, and then students will be able to go and start selecting some of those books. I'm not sure yet how I want to do it. So that is what I'm going to do right now. Let's go make some of those copies, get some of that done, and then I will be ready to go. I do want to go to the bookstore and I want to go to Target, so and I need to pick up my son. I may need to go ahead and leave, so I might just do that tomorrow, and that's going to be okay. That's just how life is. I need to learn how to walk away and say nope, not today. So I am going to take some of this stuff home, because I am definitely going to read over some of it, and then I have to do a little bit of work at home because of the way my schedules is, and this is kind of what I'm conflicting with, but because of the way my schedules work, I'm not really sure how the book tasting is going to actually work, because they kind of flow back and forth. I don't know, because typically I would do it and they would have that whole time, and that's just what they would do. So I'm gonna have to think on that, because I just straight don't even know what I'm gonna do. I may have to talk to my partner teacher. So I'm just gonna hold off on that for right now. And then I'm gonna take some of the other things, finish up some of my lesson plans, get those printed out, ready to go for tomorrow. And then I'm pretty much done. I'm feeling really good about this. My room is neat, everything's clean, everything's put away, and yeah. All right, so then I'm gonna get ready to go to Target. So you know, the worst absolute feeling is when you go and you pull up to your kid's daycare and your child is outside playing and having a really good time, and it's been really cold, and you're like, oh, they haven't been out because it's been either too much snow or too much ice, and he's finally out there playing. So now I am sitting in the parking lot in my car, allowing my baby to play. I am going to straight up eat some Cheetos, because I have no shame. I went to Target and bought like lunch foods and things like that. So I'm gonna sit here, eat my Cheetos, look on Instagram, and wait about another 10 minutes for my baby to finish playing. I'm gonna go ahead and end this vlog here. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to give the video a thumbs up to let me know if you enjoyed this style of vlog where it was a little bit more focused. Leave me a comment down below letting me know what kind of flexible seating you have in your classroom, or what is something that you want to try out in your classroom. So definitely leave that down below. I will talk to you guys really, really soon. Subscribe, like it, share it out. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Bye. Bye.